phone call. Hello? Yes, it's Ronnie Savage. How can I help you? Of course I'm sure. Yes, it's Ronnie Savage. What do you mean, am I a woman? Yes, I'm a woman. I've got to go now. Bye. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Can a woman do everything a man can? Let's find out. I'm a woman engineer working in a male-dominated industry. Clearly, my name doesn't give me away because I get lots of surprised people on the phone when they ring me for the first time. As you've just heard, I also get many Mr. Ronnie Savage emails and letters. You don't look like an engineer is a comment that I hear all the time. What does that even mean? What does an engineer look like? I mean, what do you expect an engineer to look like? I never know how to respond to that question. You don't look like an engineer. So I tend to brush it off and ignore it and move on. But now I think, I mean, is it a subtle form of sexism that I've inadvertently condoned for so many years by not saying anything? Or is it just a harmless comment that people make without thinking about its connotation? Something to think about. I grew up amongst men, 4 brothers. I was the only girl. I am the only girl. It was my mum and I against my dad and my 4 brothers. When all else failed when I was young, I resorted to tears, but I only worked when I was little. I always wanted to do everything that my brothers could. Play football, play basketball, play with cars rather than dolls, which all the other girls seemed to be playing with, to my mother's dismay. Many a time I'd be asked to butt out of a football conversation that my brothers were having. I'd be sitting around the table having a conversation. And I obviously tried to be part of the conversation. Most of the time it's about football. And I'd be asked to butt out. What do you know about football? You're a girl. Play with your dolls. Do something else. Play with your hair or something. But I gained respect from my brothers because I decided that I was going to learn all the footballers' names, learn all about football, try and play football with them if I could. And eventually I earned some respect from my brothers when I won the Family Football League, Family Football Manager League. I don't know if you know what that is, but they suddenly I gained some respect from them. In my mind, I still firmly believed that a girl could do anything that a boy could. Then it came time to go to university. My brothers chose softer careers in finance, accounting, IT, law, and I decided to study engineering. Who said a woman couldn't be an engineer, I thought. I remember one day on a field trip, I was stuck, I couldn't sort of climb over a ledge, and one of my friends, one of the guys on my course, helped me up the ledge, and I looked around, I turned around as he stood there, and I looked at him standing with his muscles, he just lifted me off the ledge. And I thought, there's absolutely no way I'll be able to return this favour one day. So I remember scratching my head at the time thinking, can a woman really do everything a man can? I suddenly started thinking, maybe not. I didn't fancy going to the gym to build the muscles that he had. I had to admit, side by side, women just didn't have the strength that the men did. And I had to stop staring at his muscles too. Several years later, I got a job as an engineer, surrounded predominantly by gruff, macho men. I was determined to carry on my fight though, I wasn't going to give up. I would do just as well as them, if not better. Nothing will hold me back. I laughed off all the innuendos and the condescending jabs, and it was tough, but I worked at it and I wasn't going to give up. I refrained from asking them for help, so you see me struggling along with tons of sort of cool boxes, because I wouldn't ask for help from one of the guys, I'd do it myself. I was determined not to become a tomboy, but I showed a certain drive, and I was determined to carry on. Then I got pregnant. Can you imagine an engineer on site with a sort of big tummy walking along? And my stomach got bigger and bigger, and I still sort of carried on. I wasn't going to give up. But in the end, when I was about 6 months pregnant, I thought, how are you going to do this? Walking on site with a sort of big stomach. And I realised I just couldn't get to the same places that the other engineers could, literally. I couldn't. And then one day, my boss at the time, who was also my mentor, said to me, Roni, you really can't do both. You know, you can't be an engineer and be a mother at the same time. You've got to choose one. It's just not going to happen. And that was a wake-up call that I needed. So it just took me back to the days when my brothers would say to me, you don't know anything about football. Go and sit and play with your dolls. But no one's going to tell me what I can or what I can't do. So I thought, right, I'm going to do this, irrespective of whether I have children or not. So I had my first child, went back to work. Had a second child, went back to work. I had a third, still went back to work. There was no stopping me, even though at that point I decided not to have any more kids. I worked twice as hard as I thought I needed to, because I was determined that I wasn't going to fall behind. And guess what? I ended up having 4 boys. So I had 3 boys. So even more men in my life. So suddenly I've got 4 brothers, my dad, my husband, and then three sons of my own. So I have lots of boys to learn from about how to deal with a sort of male-dominated environment. I'm going to read part of a poem that my son gave me on Mother's Day. It said, my mum is a fire keeping the family warm. She's a clock keeping track of time. She's an ocean casting bad times away. She's a frame hugging her loved ones. To his dad on Father's Day, the card read, you're the hero in the story. You're the wheel to the barrow, the centre forward to a team, the engine in the mower. You're the battery in the smoke alarm. And you see how I'm the ocean and his dad's an engine, and I'm the clock and his dad's the centre forward, and I'm seemingly soft and his dad's hard, even to my children. Can a woman do everything a man can? Certainly not. It's taken me almost years to be able to admit that. But do you know what? Neither can a man do what a woman can. The important thing to do is to find one's strength and utilise that. Because every individual has their own weaknesses, their capabilities, their limits. I'm sure even, say, Farmit couldn't do some of the things that Peter or David could do, presumably. Being a woman shouldn't hold one back. It shouldn't be used against a person. I mean, the important thing as well that I've learned is women shouldn't use their femininity as an excuse, and it shouldn't be used against them. Achieving success shouldn't be about being male or female. Some women are better drivers, better doctors, better surveyors, better engineers. Yeah. Me. Some women are harder workers than men, and some aren't. It's important that judgments are made on individual performance and ability. I like to believe that I'm a better engineer than most of my men counterparts, but I still help lead the men to help me lift heavy items, just as much as they need me to do some of the things that they can't. Men are stronger physically than women are. But women have come a long way since the fight of the suffragettes. In those days, women couldn't even vote, and I'm pleased to see that things are continuing to change. This time next year, we'll have Angela Sturgeon, Theresa May, Hillary Clinton, or women in power. And maybe even Ronnie Savage one day. I've never seen my gender as a detriment, and I simply embrace my limitations. Mr. Toastmaster.